And here we are. It's a blustery, another winter, almost spring day here in Portland. And I'm just finishing up on this valve body. I'm going to do this accumulator here. I found there's a lot of difference in opinion in a number of changes and mods and things that can be done on these things, depending upon who you talk to. So you have to make up your own mind on some of these things, what mods you want to do and which ones you don't. For instance, here is this accumulator here. Some people say that you should take Scotch-Brite to these bores inside here and rough them up a little bit for oil retention. But with these soft little seals on these things, I don't know. I can't see it. Other people say the same. Don't do it. So I decided I will not do that particular mod. There are a number of other things that you have to make decisions on. One of the other problems I've come across is with the TCI kit, they don't supply you with instructions, so you need to use a manual. And they have little bags of parts, and it's hard for the regular guy to figure out where they all go. And some of them have little instructions on the bags, and they're hard to read. They tell you, take this and do this with that, and some of the printing is not good. So you just have to take your time and work your way through it all. One of the other problems I had was this. What I found on my separator plate was where the ball was stuck right there, and it appears to go to the 3.2 valve. Now, I've tried to find out exactly what this does and what this may have caused, but it's hard to nail it down. It has something to do with downshifting, it looks like, maybe delayed downshifting, 3.2, maybe 2.1. I'm not sure. Okay, so we'll just simply replace this seal and put this their spring back in. This is the TCI spring for the kit. Okay, so this is a rubber-like little bushing, and it's I just can't see sanding in here, so I'm going to leave it smooth and just put this new one on here, and then we'll just go ahead and put it back. I should probably mention another mod that they talk about is on these pistons. They have a piston with no pin bore in it. It has a couple of sealing rings on it, a longer, wider, fatter one that fits in there, because what happens is pressure, when these wear right in here, pressure escapes through here and through the bore in the valve body here. Mine feels pretty tight in the valve body. I can feel a little bit of wear here, but not a whole lot, so I'm going to go ahead and stay with this. One thing about these modifications on the valve body here, you can always go back in later and do them too. Okay, now I'm digging into this servo, and I'll be using the DVD when it comes to putting this thing back together, because there's quite a bit to it. Evidently this right here, this pin, these grooves in the top have something to do with the amount of application, according to the video. This being the Corvette servo, which on the net I found the 093 designation, says that it's a Corvette servo, and it's on here. But I found this little package when I dug through my TCI kit, and it's talking about a little spring here that has to go in, and it could prevent burning up the 2.4 clutch band on downshifts. So I figure I better put that in. So it looks like it goes right in here. So we will clean all this up and get this all ready to go, and then we're going to tackle our next big problem. Now here's my sub-assembly, nice and frosty. Just took that out of the freezer. I did it for the sealing rings. More on that later. Now let's get to this. Get this pump built. Get ready for a final assembly of the. Get ready for the final assembly of the guts of this thing. Okay, I got this old bushing out. It's not the best looking, but so we'll replace it with this one provided by TCI, using a little bit more driveway technology here. I'm going to press this old door hinge back into service again. The other half of this became part of my puller, but we're just going to try to get this new bearing started in here. with this thing here. Okay, all I got to do now is figure out a way to get it the rest of the way in, nice and square, and then we'll have that, get the seal in. And would you know it, part of my Rube Goldberg compressor tool has helped me get this in. This big socket just happened to fit right on the edge, so now I just a few finishing taps here to get it nice and squared up right to the edge. And one bushing installed. So we can get the seal in now. Well, that little thing sure does come in handy. Okay, I'm continuing to rebuild this front pump as according to the DVD, and I finally pulled this off of this sub-assembly over here that I had in the freezer. When I had these rings put on here and on the turbine shaft, the fellows mentioned something about freezing, about putting these together. So having this slid in there would resize both the turbine rings and these sealing rings. I hate these things. They say to leave the resizer on for a long time to help these things size in. Well, I couldn't do that when I had the work being done while I wait over there. So I found that when I tried to assemble, I thought I better try to see if this would go inside the reverse drum. So when I tried to assemble it, it wouldn't go. It wouldn't go and it wouldn't go. So I pulled the assembly back out of the case, set it up, and tried to get it in. I had to use a screwdriver with a flat edge. Keep poking and poking and poking and poking. It took a long time. Finally I got everything poking, and finally it slid down in. And I just stuck the whole works in the freezer for a day after that, hoping that that was enough to resize these things, make them stay in there so that they'll slip in when I go to put it back together for the final time. So we'll see. If they're not perfect, they look pretty good, but boy, I'll tell you, it wasn't easy getting this out after it was in the freezer. Alright, I got this boost valve out, which was no small accomplishment. This time using the correct tool for the job. Nice little pliers I bought at the hardware store. And I'm replacing the TCI spring, which is longer, both longer and bigger in diameter. We get this back together and get these two halves together and try to match them up with a couple of big hose clamps. Alright, I rigged up two hose clamps on this thing, tightened them down real tight so I can torque these 5 bolts now. So I've got to find a way to torque these things down without a vise. I'm down about 20 foot-pounds. So here we are again. Night has fallen and the rain and the cold have set in, and we're just buttoning up the guts of this transmission. Finally, I was able to get this front pump in. Went right in, no problems. No seals hung up, so I'm sure I didn't shave any seals off or anything like that, which is really good. So we find ourselves coming up against another Friday night here. So it's time to stow all this stuff, find something better to do. Next time I'll get the servo in here and I'll air check all of the clutch packs in this thing. Alright, here we are on another rainy and cold day in Portlandia, in here in March, and I'm at the point what I've been waiting for. I've got the valve body all on here. It's time to torque it down, do it from the center out, just like everything. And fortunately my hands have been registered. My hands have been torque registered, so I don't need that inch-pound torque wrench that the book calls for. But it's a good thing to have.